Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. Today we are working on the Vintage Staples album. My name is Kathryn. This is the Vintage Staples album. It's already chunky. So, man, this just doesn't want to stay in his pocket. Just going to flip through it. Basically, what we've been doing is I've been making mock-ups of staples like paper bags, file folders, glassine bags, etc., coin envelopes or library pockets, whatever, and showing you how to make those. And all of those are going to be in the playlist that you're watching this in, whether that's in the folder, in the archives, or in the playlist on YouTube. We've also done this waterfall here, which has tons and tons and tons of photos. You can also put cards in here, 4x6 cards, all that kind of stuff. It is a file folder, so you can see the tabs running down. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and find bigger rings for the album, because it's getting to be a chonker. It's getting to be a chonker. Wow, I think I tied a bow mostly without having a meltdown just now. That's a first time on Kathryn Scraps. All right, so that's that waterfall. Other things that we've done, oh gosh, this is so cute. This is what we did last week. We have done this pocket card thing, okay? So I don't know, what did I call it? A photo wallet. All right. So where we left off is we're working on this like stack of file folders. Okay. And we had gotten this one done fully, right? Is that what happened? Did we get this one done fully? Yes. So this one is fully finished, decorated front and back. All right, so now what we're going to work on are the two that go on top of it. This one, which is going to just squeak into all three rings. But this one I'm going to remake, because one of the things, see, this one's in two pieces. One of the things we realized when we had to remake this one is that it's actually better for the file folders to be in two pieces in terms of construction and all of that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it two pieces. So we're going to remake this in two pieces. The only thing I'm going to salvage from it is the magnet. And the reason why is because this one already, I must have done something dumb to it when I made it the first time, because it's already had a surgery. So I'm not going to like save something that's already demented. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to save this magnet. That's the only thing I'm going to keep. Just going to try and find a piece of metal to stick it to, which I did over there. Okay, so that's fine. So let us get to work on remaking that middle one. We already remade the tiny one. So we need to remake the middle one. Remake tabs. I'm just going to look at what I've got in the scraps, and I have to find my Stack O templates. Oh, here we go. Got my Stack O templates. Going to look in scraps. I mean, I might have pieces big enough. I guess we'll find out when we look at the templates. So the medium file folder, we need a piece that's 9 by 9 5/8. And the way I told you to figure out how to deconstruct them, to make that, take it from one piece to two pieces, is 9 is the width, okay? So you keep 9 the same. So it's 9, it's still 9 across, and it's still these score lines. All right, that doesn't change. But instead of being 9 5/8, it's a piece that is 9 and hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. 9 by whatever you're trying to make it is one of them, or excuse me. So this is 5 by 7. So one of them is 9 by 5 plus 1. Okay, so this is to make a 5 by 7. So the piece that's the front is 9 by 5, which is the height, plus, not, oh, sorry, my bad. The back piece is 5 by 7. Now I have to just remember. Let me write this down, 5 by 7. Okay, so the back piece, which is this piece with the tab, that piece is 5 by 7. So one of the pieces just has to be 5 by 7, which I'm pretty sure this one is. Let me take a look at this one as well. Now the other piece is you take this, you subtract 5 from it, you get 4 5/8, and then you add 1 inch. So one piece is 5 by 7 and one piece is 9 by 5 5/8. All right. So do we have one piece that's 5 by 7? This is 5 by 7. So that's the back. And then this piece is 7 by 5 1/2. So that's big enough to, or no, it needs to be 9. So this piece isn't big enough. All right, I'm gonna have to cut one more. So when you're taking these measurements and you're separating them into 2 pieces, the back is whatever size your finished one is. So in this case, 5 by 7. And the front is whatever this original number I gave you here by this number minus this number. So in this case, 5 minus 5 plus 1 inch, plus 1 inch. All right, so we've got our 5 by 7 inch piece to use for the back. And now I need to cut a piece that is 9 by 5 5/8. 9 by 5 5/8. All right. So I'm going to cut it to 5 5/8 first, and then cut it to 9. And then those are my 2 pieces. Then just going to stick these back here. All right. All right, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and score these. And I'm going to score this on the 9 inch edge at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch, and then at 8 and 8 1/2. And then I'm going to flip it end over end and then score at 3/4 inch and at 8 1/4. Okay. And then set that aside, and then this one's not scored. Okay, so, oh, sorry, wait. I have to score this one more time. On the bottom, or on the shorter side, the 5 5/8 inch side, I'm going to score at 4 5/8. So that extra inch that we added is to put a tab on it. Okay, 4 5/8. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold along all the score lines and burnish. All right. Now, I want to talk about classes next week because I am going on another trip. I have another wedding. I'm really looking forward to having a month without a wedding. That would be cool. And so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have an afternoon class on Tuesday and then no classes on Thursday. afternoon class on Tuesday and no classes on Thursday is what I'm thinking. I just need to check. Yeah. All right. So we won't discuss the book club at this class. So that we're going to push the June book club book, which is Deacon King Kong by James McBride. We're going to push it to the first Thursday in July, because then we will have both classes to discuss it if needed. We'll have that flexibility. So I'm in an inch in from the unscored edge, and I'm going to cut from the score line, or excuse me, from the edge down to the first score line, and then on the bottom I'm going to cut from the innermost score line to the edge. All right, so that's going to make two little flaps like this. And then on this one, I'm going to put the ruler here on the edge, and then I'm going to come in 2 inches. So from on the scored end, you come in 2 inches from the edge. Same thing, cut from the edge down to the innermost score line, cut from the innermost score line down to the edge. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a couple things. We're going to do our trimming. So the first trim that I'm going to make is I'm going to take the X made by the score line on the bottom and the score line at the thing, and I'm just going to cut straight through it. Okay. So once again, this is the X made by the intersection of the 2 score lines. Going to cut straight through it, and then we want to remove this tab and leave this tab. All right, and then I'm going to flip it over. And what I'm doing here is I'm lining up the score line so it's to the right of my wire. All right, so that when I cut, and this one I didn't cut all the way through, when I cut, the score line stays with the cut portion and I get a clean edge on the small one. Okay, so gonna do that again. So all right, so now this has been prepped aside from tape and the magnet and the punching the thing. So what we want to do is we're going to put our tape, so that's what's left. We have to put our tape, we have to add our magnet, and wait, the tape goes on the inside. So the tape goes on just the bottom edge. Okay. And then we'll put a corresponding line of tape on the bottom edge of this piece. And that way when they come together, they each have tape on their very edge. Okay, now, when we go to stick these together, we will attach them like this. That's how they'll be stuck together, okay? So what we need to do now is to add our tab, which is gonna go in the middle. And I'm gonna just consult my notes to find out what my punch is. So my punch is 2.5. Okay, so the way that we then calculate how, when, and where to do the punching is with, okay, we take 7 because that's the width, minus 2.5. And that gives us 4.5. And then that number we divide by 2, and that's 2.25. So at 2.25 is where we're going to do our punching on this tab. 2.25. All right. And then that's in from each edge. So we're going to put 2.25 on in from each edge on both these pieces. And on this one, it's from the innermost edge, not the cut edge, or not the flap edge. So again, 2.25, 2.25, 2.25, 2.25. All right, now we get our trimmer back out. And on this piece, which is the front, we are going to cut from dip to dip, from dip to dip. Okay. And then we're going to round our corners. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. And that seems a little small to me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the 3/8 inch, which is the one that's in between 1/2 and 1/4. Just take a little bit more off. All right. Okay, so there's that. So now on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to go from edge to dip, from edge to dip. Okay, so that we have the tab remaining. And just on your, on this, what's the front and what's the back of this one doesn't matter because the tab's in the middle. But on ones where it does matter, just make sure that you remember that this tape is the back, or wait until you've tabbed it and then put your tape. So you don't have to remember either way. All right, so then I'll use the 3/8 inch chomper again. That's the larger of the yellow chomps. All right. And this is pretty much complete. We just need to add tape to the tabs. So I'm going to put it face up on my desk. So the part with the tape is the back. And then we're going to put tape on the tab. All right. Now, those are ready to get covered with paper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab this. This is my whole template for the, I'm going to actually just point to here, just so I know that that's the place where we're going to mark our holes. Okay, so what this is this is the template that I made. And I want to come in a little bit on these holes so that this can be a template for all the holes. And so what I'm thinking is on this one, I went down 2.5 inches. So this is for the 6x8. So what I want to do is I want to come in 2 inches, and then that'll give me a template for, and I came in 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do 2 inches down, 2 inches in, and then I'm going to go in 1/2 inch. All right. So here's my ruler. Okay. So I'm just going to stop it. I'm just going to line this up with a line on my desk, okay? And this is the corner of my folder. And then I'm going to line this up at the 2-inch mark and just draw a new line. I'm just going to go all the way across, okay? And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So once again, I'm gonna line my corner up, come in 2 inches, draw a line, okay? So now I know where they are. So what I need to do now is take the 1/2 inch line of my ruler, because I do want to come in 1/2 inch this time, and line it up with the edge, and then just draw a hash mark intersecting that line that I just drew, okay? And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll come in 1/2 inch. Okay, and then to get the hole, I'm going to take my 1/4 inch power punch, and I'm going to line the cross that's made by these 2 lines in the center of my piece like a bullseye, and then punch. And then I'm going to do it again on the other side. And then what I can do is I can label this set of lines as 5 by 7. All right. Okay. All right, so now this template will work for 2 different sized file folders. And what this template is for is it just goes on the corner where you want the rubber band to go, and that's where we'll draw our holes. So I did some thinking since we last saw each other about the easiest way to do the holes, and I think I've got it figured out now. So hopefully today we'll have no trouble with that. All right, so now all we have to do is decorate this and stick it all together. Okay, now what we can see here is you can see that this piece is just a little taller. I really want these to line up more like this. So I need to lose about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of this. So I'm just gonna put that at the 1/8 inch line on my mat, or on my trimmer, and just remove a sliver. And that way I'll be able to close it up, line it up that way, no problem. Bev says that could be scary. Bev's afraid of the thinking I've been doing. That's fair, Bev. I'm also afraid of the thinking I've been doing. So when I go to close this up, what I'll do is I'll remove the tape. I'll line these up like this on the front, and then I'll pull the tape and close it, and that's how they'll go together, and it'll be fine. Okay. So the main issue with these holes is that the way we've kind of been thinking about it is that the thing has to be fully closed up before we can do the holes, right? But what if we just didn't attach the paper, so we could slide this tab under the side, slide this tab under the side, slide this tab under the side? So I think that's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to leave an edge free of the pattern paper that's going to line the back of this, so that we can tuck this tab under and then tuck that free edge over it. So we'll put the paper, we'll leave the bottom unsecured. Okay, so we'll adhere it like halfway down. We'll punch our holes, we'll put our strap on, we'll do all that. And then at the end, we'll tuck this under that free edge of the pattern paper, and then peel the tape on the pattern paper and stick it down. And then on the inside, it'll be similar in that we'll only adhere this at the top. We'll leave the sides free so that we can tuck this in, adhere it, and then tape the sides and the bottom down. Should work. Will it work? Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, in theory, that sounds smart. And then in practice, it's like, no, that wasn't smart. That was unsmart. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to, let's see what I've got. I was going to do the middle. Was that it? Is that why this piece is out? This is for the small one, right? Why doesn't Past Kathryn write me more notes? That's the real question. Or is it like polka dots on the inside, and is that why these are out? Because it's polka dots on the inside and it's... All right, I'm going to do this for the liner. What shall we do for the liner? All right, for the liner, let's do this. So this is from the Bo Bunny collection. Let's use this water stained bit here. And actually, I think I'll use this part. So I'm going to cut a 4-inch. I don't need it to go all the way to the bottom, so I'm going to cut it 4 inches by, it's 6 3/4. And okay. So we've got 4 inches by 6 3/4. So now we need to chomp this. And wait, we chomped, let me put tape on it before I chomp it. We chomped this at 2 1/4. So this is going to get chomped at 2 3/8. 2 3/8. Not 2 3/8, 2 1/8. We have to go down 1/8 of an inch, not up. 2 1/8. All right, so I've taped, and now I'm going to do 2 1/8. I'm going to flip it over and do 2 1/8. All right. Then we're going to trim. So we're going to all right. And then because we chomped the folder at 3/8, we're going to chomp this at 1/4. And looks good. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tape on the edges and my weather is kind of medium. It's been very chaotic, I guess I would say, lately, although I don't think right now it's doing anything particularly dramatic, but we've just been having storms just rolling through. I mean, this time of year in our type of climate, you can pretty much expect it to rain every day, at least for part of the day. Okay, so this is now going to get adhered here, but I'm only going to remove the tape at the top. I'm not going to remove the tape on the sides because we're going to test our theory. We're going to test our theory. All right. So get this all centered on there. Well, I have excellent stream health, excellent connection, so, you know, could just be YouTube. Sometimes it is YouTube. All right. So in theory, okay, when I go to stick this down, what I can do is I can go and just tuck this underneath like that. Yeah, is this gonna work? Hopefully this will work. Look, on this side it already just did it on its own. So we'll see, we shall see, we shall see. All right, so for the back, we're gonna need a piece that is, what I'm gonna do with this is I'm actually gonna do a 5x7 pinwheel, since we know we need pieces that are smaller than 5x7. So just going to quickly execute a 5x7 pinwheel. All right, so now we just have to decide if we want our wood to be going that direction or that direction. I think that direction. So I'll take the two pieces that are like this and put them in my scrap bin, and I'll take the other two pieces and use them. All right, I'm going to set the one that I'm going to use. I'm just going to set them down and see which one do I like better for the front. I like this one better for the front, I think. So I'm going to use this one on the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put, I'm going to trim this down first to 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. And then once I've done that, I'm going to add tape to the piece that I want to be on the top, which is this side, I think. I want this to be on the top. So I'm going to take my 3/4 inch tape and tape that. Then I'm going to tape the sides and bottom as well. So I'm going to tape the sides and the bottom. Okay. Alrighty, and now that we've got the sides and the bottom taped, okay, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna punch the top, and we're gonna punch the top the same way we punched this top, which is 2 1/8 on either side. Okay, let me just right, now I'm going to trim and punch and ink. So I'm going to trim again from the edge to the dip, and then flip it over and trim from the dip to the edge, or the edge to the dip. Okay, and then chomp the corners, again chomping with a 1/4 inch because we used the 3/8 on the cardstock. And I like to step down. All right, next. Ink. All right. Okay, so this is ready to stick down, so I'm going to stick it down. And again, I'm only going to peel the tape from the top so that the rest of it is and it seems a little long. Oh, right, it's long because I had to trim it down. I remember now. That's why it seems long. It's fine. It's fine. All right. So peel it up, and I've got tape all the way around these edges and on this edge. Same. Okay. This one I don't have tape on this edge because it'll be inside the folder, so it doesn't need tape there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this to put our strap, and I'm going to put the strap on the opposite side because on this strap I put it on the bottom, so on this one I'm going to put it on the top just to mix it up. All right, so I'm going to line this up with the corner. That's what that arrow tells me. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a pencil to mark my holes. I'm using the 5x7 because this is the 5x7 envelope. All right. And then I can use my 1/4 inch power punch to, and now I'm seeing that I'm going to want to peel the tape to about here. So about halfway down. So what I'm going to do is about halfway down, and you know, this would have been easier to do before. I'm going to do about 60% of the way down from the tab. I'm going to cut the tape backing and peel the back off the tape to stick down that portion of the corner. Okay, because it's going to be hard to remove that tape later. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my corner chomps. Wait, is this one also partially? Well, this one has to be free to slide the thing under. So yeah, this one's okay, I think. I'm going to just leave this one totally free, and we're going to hope we don't run into too many problems with our flap. I think my flap will go over the hole. Well, now that's a good question. Do we want to see the holes on the inside or not? Because if we don't want to see the holes, what I'm talking about here is if we see the hole on the inside. If we don't, we just wait until after we've put the holes to stick this down. So let me just quickly remove this. So the steps would be, okay, that instead of putting this down before we do, then we'll go ahead and do it later. Just gonna wave it a little bit to dry it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to punch my holes. Okay, And I'm going to cut my string, which last time I cut to 4 inches and that worked just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it to 4 inches. All right, now I'm going to glue this into place. So I'm going to put a drop of glue on the side of the circle that's like coming down to the side. So I'm going to put a drop of glue right here. And then I'm going to stick this in place and put a clamp on it and just let that sit for a moment. Or actually, I don't need to let it sit because it is clamped in place. So on this side, it's the same thing between it and the edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this so that it's just grabbing it right by the hole so that I can then pull this around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull it straight across to here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my glue. I'm going to hold it for just a moment or two so the glue kind of starts to grab it. And then I'm going to snag it with a clothespin again. All right, so we're just going to let that sit. I'm going to return this to the template stack. See if I can just peel. Just peeling this tape. Try and keep the back or the inside from having extra tape while I give this a minute to set up. Okay. And then what we're going to do is, while we're waiting, is this dry yet? Okay, that is enough time. So what I'm going to do here with this piece, because it's a little bit longer, I'm going to trim the end just a little bit. So this really should be probably more like 2.5 inches. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my eyelets and brads. And once again, these are for leather making. These are 3/8 of an inch, which is why I made my holes 1/4 of an inch. And they are called self-piercing eyelets and grommets. And I got them from eBay. So if you just go on eBay and you Google, well, not Google, you search on eBay for 3/8 inch self-piercing eyelets and eyelets grommets, many versions of these will come up. And the self-piercing, that is just because I have noticed, for whatever reason, that the ones labeled self-piercing work better for this type of application than the ones that are not self-piercing. So they are not actually really truly self-piercing. And then, you know, while I'm setting it, I am holding it in place. Okay. So that it is stuck down there. Okay. So then I'm going to come to the other side now and repeat. All right, and then I'm going to remove it. Okay, so now that's done. That's set. Okay, so let's continue trying to build our perfect order here. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get back my 3/4 inch tape, and I'm just going to run it across. And then we are going to have to just run around the outside with our craft knife to clean it up. And this is only because, you know, we didn't need to put this on the inside in the first place. So when you do yours, you won't have to do this step. Okay. All right. So I now believe we are ready to assemble this piece. Okay. So let's find out if this is going to work and give us a better outcome than we previously have done. So once again, I'm going to peel this top bit, and I'm going to stick it into place. Okay, just going to flip it over and burnish it as best I can. All right, so the next step is to peel this to kind of hold this up at the top. So the way I'm going to do it, so it's not in my way, is I'm going to pull this corner up to the tab and hold it there with one of my clothespins or my extra hand. Okay. Again, just so it's out of the way. And then I'm going to line these two up with each other. Okay. So I'm lining their corners up on the front. Oh, grommets in the bottom for the rings. Oh yeah, we do still have to do that. Okay. Man, this is the most annoying project ever. I already, because if you recall, I was talking about, I'm just going to use this to cover this. I was already talking about, could we make an album entirely out of these file folders? And the first thing to go has been the rings. And I've already figured out how to do this as a infinity binding or a split decision binding. So, because the rings are just, I'm not loving the, I like the way they look because they're very office supplies-y, but the function has been infuriating. Infuriating. So, like, functionally, it's just been a nightmare. So, yeah, that was the first thing to go. Okay, so yes, we have to put the rings in these, so I still need to do something with the rings. Okay, so what that means is this piece now needs to get cut down to 6 3/4 by 4 3/8. Okay, so now that this is 6 3/4 by 4 3/8, it fits the front perfectly. So we're going to run tape across just the top, the 3/4 inch tape, and do our punching. And our punching is at the the 2 1/8, 2 1/8 to do the punch out for the well. And actually in this case, we're going to remove the middle. So we're going to punch at 2 1/8 and then 2 1/8 And then we're going to remove the middle. So the opposite of what we just did. All right. So going to get my file folder, my paper trimmer, and remove the file folder tab, because what we want is the dip only. And then we're going to take the 1/4 inch and round the corners. And then we're going to ink all the edges. Now, by the way, if you are watching this, you know, down the road later, and you kind of know what to do and you're just refreshing like order of operations, things like that, you know, you can always, and YouTube allows you to change the speed of videos. So you can always mute me so that I don't sound like a chipmunk. And then speed the video up so that you can see something go together quickly. So, all right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the rest of the edges and we'll stick this to the front. So I'm going to tape the 3 edges. But I sound so good as a chipmunk. Well, if you like how I sound as a chipmunk, then don't mute. Then you don't have to mute me. Have I ever listened to myself as a chipmunk? I don't know. I'll have to try it later and see how I feel. Maybe I have a career ahead of me as a chipmunk. All right. And the way that you would change the speed is in the settings, which is the gear in the bottom right corner of whatever window you're viewing me in. And especially for live shows, when you're watching recordings of live shows, sometimes even just bumping up to 1.25, just because I think when we're doing live shows, we're slower than when we're doing, like, or at least I know for myself, I'm slower in live shows than I am when I'm doing recordings for, oh, I forgot to put the magnet. So we'll just figure that out later. So that'll be part of when we go to decorate it. So what I'm going to do, let's do this. I'm just going to see where it needs to be. So it needs to be kind of right here. So I'm going to stick it down now so that I know it has to get covered later. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. But as I was saying, I think, you know, because I have more things to think about when I'm doing a tutorial live, especially one that doesn't have a album basics guide or something like that. So like basically what I'm doing right now, I just think slower because I have more things on my mind trying to manage a broadcast, and there's more things that I'm looking at. So sometimes just bumping me up to 1.25 will make me like the speed I would normally be during an album basics guide or something like that. All right. Okay, so now this is ready. So I'm gonna do the holes. So the way that I do that is I have this template here that has all the holes I punched for the rings originally. And what we're gonna do is we just line this up so that it's, you know, perfectly centered between 2 holes. And you can kind of flip it over and look if you need to make sure it really is centered. And then chomp the holes. All right, so now I'm going to chomp my holes. And I'm just folding this back so I can chomp through the tab. Get this little corner here. Okay. Okay, so now I've got my holes. Time to set it. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to start with the middle because that is the most annoying part. Because we have to use the big bite. And the big bite does not set these very well. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it here and then I'm going to fold this back. Maybe have I discovered a way to not use the big bite, question mark, hopefully. All right, so then I'm going to go over here and try to use my, ah, yes. Oh, look, we did it. We don't have to use the big bite at all. Goodbye, big bite. So I just folded this so that it wasn't on the piercing side, it was on the, so now we finally have a way to do this without the big bite, thank goodness. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, so unfortunately for this other one, the holes have to go through once it's already assembled, so we're not going to be able to do the same thing with the other one. But with this one, at least we've got our holes. So with this one, we're going to have to attach it like so, and then do our holes. Okay, so once again, we're going to peel the tape. Well, let me, the reason why I say that is because, you know, it needs to go through it. Like it's the last thing that we have to do because otherwise this won't be underneath. So that's why we have to wait. So we do have to do this step next. Okay. So I'm just gonna, again, pull this up here. So pulling that corner, the corner opposite this to the tab and sticking it down. Okay, peel this tape, peel this tape. All right, once again, just flap the flaps out to the sides so they're not in your way and line the front edges up like so. Then just close it. And it may try to shift around on you like a punk. So if it does, just fix it. All right, so now we know where the holes ultimately are going to be because we have these. So I can get these and I'm going to punch out these holes so that they all line up. Okay. Now for this hole, I do have to use the big bite. So, sorry big bite, you're needed. So I'm gonna come to the 3/16 inch hole. Did I say 3/8 earlier for the grommets? It's 3/16. I'm gonna punch that hole, and then I'm gonna enlarge the hole. And the way that I do that is just by sticking a pair of scissors into it, okay, and twisting. Okay, now this part, the back, can get it stuck down. Okay, so with the back, we can go ahead and stick it down. All right, so the back is now stuck down. Okay, so now I'm just going to punch my holes again. All right, and we're going to go ahead and set these. Okay, so go ahead and set those eyelets and grommets. So again, with this middle hole, I just need to widen it a little bit so my grommet will fit into it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my circle thing on the big bite itself, because it goes grommet side down. Give it a little squeeze with the big bite, and then you can use a hammer if you have a hammer in your craft room. If you don't, you can use the big bite, because we're just gonna flatten it. And we just don't want it wiggly, which it isn't wiggling around, so we're good. All right, and then the other two we can set just like normal. Okay. All right, so all of our eyelets have been set now. So now the final thing for the assembly of this, if everything is going to work out the way I expect / hope, is to remove the tape from these flaps and to slide them together. All right, so let's do that. Okay, first of all, let's put all these little guys away so they're not on my desk. Trying to keep my work area neat. It's been a struggle. All right, so I'm going to remove the tape from both of them. So I'm removing the tape from the folder and from the pattern paper. And I'm just going to hold the pattern paper up while I get everybody situated. Okay. All right, so all right, I need to yeah, I need another hand. I need a hand to hold these guys down. All right, so that I can get them tucked underneath. All right, I think I've got it. Oh, okay, I got it. All right, so they're underneath. Pinch. And see how this is trying to be on top of the accordions? I'm just going to pull the accordion out from underneath it and then pinch it again. Okay. Yay, we did it. Success. So now we have a liner. It's under the accordions. We have our file folder. We've got our corner piece. We managed to do it. We managed to do it. All right. So now I'm just going to burnish everybody. All right. Okay. So now we can decorate the front and back of this. So, goodness. Making me work. It's making me work. All right, so now let me put my decorating hat on here. So let us start with our books. All right, so we've got this, which is actually pretty good. This is the family. Let's try the camping one. See if we can grab something. And what I'm going to do, actually, is I'm just going to hold this and this next to each other to see if there's something that I especially like in terms of the patterns that I can use, especially, ooh, this houndstooth, especially on ones where I'm never going to use it, like I'm never ever going to need relax, you're at the lake, ever. So, all right, so we can make a tag out of that. All right, and then let's go over here and see if there's anything that we can use to decorate that houndstooth. So like something from this. I kind of like that, but I think we already used it. I think we already used that. Let's go ahead and do something with this. Okay, so what we're going to do is a double tag, I think. So I'm going to turn this into a tag. So I'm going to make it 3 by 6. Tags usually look best if they're twice as long as they are wide. So 3 by 6 is a good size for this one. And then I'll tab the corners. Before I tab the corners, I'm going to go ahead and put tape on the top. And then for this, I'm going to do 2.5 by 5. All right, so I'm going to put tape across the top of this as well. And we're going to pull the tape. And I'm going to chomp the corners. So I'm going to chomp this one with the large angle. And I'm going to chomp this one with the small angle. And I'm going to ink the edges of both of them. This one, I'm going to tape the remaining 3 edges. This one, I'm not going to. All right, so this one, I'm going to tape the 3 edges plus the middle. And this one, I'm just going to put a little bit of tape right in the middle and leave it like that. Okay, so now we're going to ink these. All right. And then with this, I'm going to set it on here slightly off kilter. Okay. And I'm going to curl it a little bit so it has some dimension. And then I'm going to eyeball, and I'm going to use the back for this so I don't get distracted by the 2 tabs, and punch a 1/4 inch hole. All right. And then use that scrap of red cardstock that I have somewhere in here. Where did I put you? All right, whatever. I'm not going to try and find the red cardstock because I'll just use this brown. So I'm going to use, punch a 1/4 inch hole and then punch a 3/4 inch hole. And then stick it down. Okay. All right, then down you go. All right. And I'm going to get some string. And put it through, and then that'll just be a little tag string, and then I'm going to give myself 3 inches thereabouts of string hanging off. And now we're just going to peel all this tape. Oops. Let me reattach my string. Okay. All right. So there we go. All right, so now our front is totally finished. And we just need to do the back. So for the back, let's grab this is one of the naked pockets we made, so there will be a tutorial in this playlist on how to do this. And then let's find a tag to go in here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we can get that to fit. So that's one of our scraps from this collection. So what I'm going to do here is, and there's, like I said, there's instructions somewhere in this playlist on how to make this little pocket. All right. So let's go ahead and burnish. And stick it down. And then let's trim this up. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to eyeball about 1/8 of an inch on either side. And then see if it will fit at that point, which it looks like it will. So I'll just finish trimming it up with my scissors. 3/8 inch, or 3/16 rather, hole punch from the crocodile, I think. Yep. And again, this is from the crate paper collection, so this is DIY shop. But, you know, the objective here is to use all your scraps or all your old collections. I'm not using anything newer than 10 years. So the newest thing in this book is from 2012. All right, and then in this goes, and we've got our little manila folder on the back here. All right, so that finishes off that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recording break here. So for those of you who are watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. In the next video, I'm going to do I'm going to not go straight to the next file folder because the file folders take a long time and I want to break them up a little bit. So we'll work on the smallest file folder tonight, but what I'm going to do in the next video is we're going to figure out what kind of page element we want to have here. So like I said, for those of you who are watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. If you're watching in the archives or in the YouTube playlist, then just check the playlist for the next video and continue on from there. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'm live every Thursday from 2 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. There's always a link in every video to convert that to your own time zone. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.